So we start along the border between Jordan and the occupied West Bank, where a major crossing remains closed after a gunman killed 3 Israelis on Sunday. Hundreds of people are stranded near the crossing, hoping that it's going to be reopened. These are the pictures from the occupied West Bank side of the border. Jordanian police have asked people not to come to the crossing as it will be closed both ways. Jordan's government says an investigation into Sunday's shooting is ongoing. It happened on the western side of the Allenby border crossing along the Jordan River. That side of the crossing lies in the occupied West Bank, but it's controlled by Israeli forces. The gunman is said to have arrived from Jordan by truck. He then opened fire in a cargo area of the crossing that was under Israeli control. He fired 3 rounds before being shot dead by Israeli soldiers. There are 3 major land crossings on Jordan's western border, but the Allenby crossing is the only one linking Palestinians in the occupied West Bank to the outside world. It's the only way for Palestinians to access air travel, as there's no airport in the occupied West Bank. Let's go to Al Jazeera's Hamdah Salhut. Hamdah, you're on the Jordanian side of the border, the Jordanian side of that crossing. What is the status of the border crossing? We thought, indeed expected, it was going to reopen.
Well, what we heard last night from both Israeli and Jordanian officials was that this crossing behind me was going to be opened at 10 a.m. local time. However, that has since not been the case, as Jordanian authorities have released a statement saying that the crossing will be closed until further notice. Now, the crossing in the north, after we reached out to them, they said that they are open for Israeli passport holders only, meaning that no Palestinians from occupied East Jerusalem, no Palestinians from the occupied West Bank, and no foreigners would be allowed to go through that crossing. And the status of the crossing in the south is still unclear. And that crossing in the north just opened for passengers. There is no cargo or trucks whatsoever that is going to be allowed through there. Now, this has resulted in thousands of travelers essentially stranded. Palestinians, this is the only crossing for them. This one behind me, it's the only way in and out of the occupied West Bank. Their only lifeline, essentially, for air travel and to get anywhere else that they need to be. And now they're unsure of when they're going to be able to make it home.
And Hamdah, one thing this illustrates is the very high level of security cooperation that we typically see between Jordan and Israel.
That's right. Look, there has to be security cooperation because there are 3 land borders that are shared between the 2 countries. This one here behind me is the only connection to the occupied West Bank. And the Jordanian authorities have said they're working with the Israeli side to figure out exactly what happened. The Jordanians say that they've opened an investigation, and the initial findings of that probe showed the identity of the shooter and that he acted alone and did, in fact, drive the truck into the Israeli side of the border. Now, Jordanian authorities are also working with the Israelis on how to bring back the body of the shooter so that he can be buried in Jordan. But it's still not exactly known the fate of 2 other Jordanian drivers who are still detained by the Israelis. Jordanian officials have said that all of the Jordanian truck drivers were arrested and detained by Israeli authorities in the aftermath of the shooting, and most of them were released, but there are 2 that are still being held, and the Jordanians are waiting for a status update from the Israelis on those 2 men.
Al Jazeera's Hamdah Salhut reporting from near the King Hussein border crossing in Jordan. Thank you very much, Hamdah.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.